Hey friends, welcome back to another video. My name's Lefebvre, and today I'm taking you through kind of a raw, unpolished video that I shot this morning while I was feeling full of anxiety about painting, about filming, and these moments happen. And I decided to kind of film a little bit of how I was feeling in those moments, what it feels like to be unmotivated to paint when it's your job, and then I take you through the steps that I use when I don't know what to paint. Kind of my little tips and tricks of what I use to get the ball rolling. So I hope you guys find this interesting and helpful, and let's jump in and get started. I am feeling super anxious today. So I haven't really painted much in the past couple weeks. I came back from my retreat a week ago today, and it was amazing. But to be honest, I didn't really paint much for myself like the whole time. I had brought all of my supplies thinking that I would, just be inspired by the scenery or even at the airport and just want to sketch and draw and paint, and I did zero of that. The only painting I did was teaching, and it was great, but I feel like I haven't been creative for myself in over 2 weeks, and I'm feeling extremely stuck today. So today is currently Thursday. This video is not like a regular tutorial that I usually do. But I thought it'd be important for you guys to see this side too, because I do get this question a lot of, what do you paint if you don't know what to paint or you don't know if you want to paint? And I am sitting at my desk. It is 10:30. I drop my kids off at school at around 8:30, and I have gotten zero work done because I've just been sitting here literally looking at my blank sketchbook, kind of having a panic attack about what I should film for tutorials. And it's hard because I just feel this lack of motivation to paint, and that happens. And people ask, like, how do you keep up with content? How do you keep up with your videos? And how do you want to paint every day? And the simple answer is I don't at all, honestly. And there was a period where, or there are periods where I go like up and down. The past few months, I have been loving painting and drawing in my sketchbook, my mixed media sketchbook. And I have felt super inspired since, what day was it? March? I usually write the date. March 20th. And I was going consistently every day because I just felt inspired every day, just randomly. And now I am sitting here and trying to figure out what to film, and I'm not feeling it. So the purpose of today's video is to show you what I would paint when I am feeling like this, because no matter what, I still have to do this. This is my job. And I do love it, and I know I will, but it's finding out what I can paint that will produce something without the pressure of it being this huge masterpiece. And there's usually two go-to painting ideas that I usually go with, not necessarily subjects. The first one is to just throw paint on paper. Something typically really loose florals, and I give myself zero expectation of it turning out well. And I just kind of throw shapes on paper. Just literally getting the paint down on paper. Does not have to be perfect, does not have to be, super amazing composition, it doesn't have to be anything special. Getting that paint down on your paper is important, because sometimes maybe a color or a bleed or a technique will inspire you to, do something further. Sometimes it won't, and sometimes it comes out like crap. But then there's like a way that you can try and find out if you can fix it. So that's one way, which I think I'm going to do with you guys. The other thing is to find something very, very small to paint. that could be, a leaf outside, or like a petal of a flower, a small, like just something. It could be something as simple as, drawing a paint tube, or just some sort of art supply. Keeping it small and simple is another way to just kind of get yourself going. Another one that I tell beginners a lot is to just swatch your colors. Swatch your palettes. See what's in your palettes, maybe color mix, just again, so you can get that paint on paper. So while I'm feeling this way and feeling like absolute crap about myself and painting, and is this good enough? Is this and that? I know right now what my heart needs is to just put paint on paper. So that is what I'm going to do with you. I am going to choose colors that are going to make me happy. And I am just going to really just throw it down. Maybe I'll add some pencil later on. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll do some line and wash and we'll just figure it out. But step one is to put paint on paper. So let's do that. So for some reason, my go-to color is always my permanent rose. I just love this color, and my flat brush, it just makes everything kind of, a little bit easier to be really loose with it. And I'll just start throwing down some color, adding water, and just kind of having fun with it. I don't know. I kind of want to just do like a really loose, colorful, bright, peony. Watch those colors bleed. I love that. There's something so therapeutic about that this always becomes my go-to. Just pink, fluffy flowers. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to it, maybe. I'm try and make this one a little bit lighter up here. Watching the colors kind of bleed into each other. And I'm, again, not focusing on composition necessarily. I'm focusing more on just putting that paint in shapes and colors down that make me feel bright and happy and sunny, if that makes sense. Just a change from what I'm feeling inside. And sometimes I feel like people maybe need to paint what they feel inside. So if you're feeling a little bit on the darker side and you're not feeling super happy, maybe it might be valuable to paint that. Use colors that are reflecting the way you feel. So you could use lots of dark tones and grays and blacks, whatever honestly makes you feel better. Or you can kind of try and go for a color palette that maybe will make you feel happier and more, like a sunshine. That's kind of what I like to tend to do. I don't tend to go for the darker, moody colors, unless I guess maybe I'm really depressed, which might feel good. But I tend to try and go for the brighter things that just make me feel happy and joyful. So that's what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on color and the looseness of it all. So that's what I'm doing. You know what I should paint? Some dandelions. My son, who is newly 3, I'm going to do some little dandelions, has been obsessed with picking me dandelions lately. And he just gets so excited to bring the whole family these little bright yellow flowers. So maybe I'll just kind of channel my little Miles here and add some bright little yellow dandelions. And I'm still using my bigger brush. I find it's, like I said, it's easier to be loose and kind of carefree with this brush. It's just a 3/4 inch flat. And it's just, I don't know, there's something about it that makes it not difficult, but just not the typical shapes that you would get with a round brush. And I just kind of like that. I feel like just dabbing the way I do here with the corner of the brush makes these beautiful, effortless marks that I really enjoy. Yeah, I'm just going to fill this up with dandelions. And I'm just trying to look for joy and peace in honestly whatever whatever will bring me that. So that's just kind of what I'm doing. I don't know if this video is valuable to anybody, but I thought for today I would just kind of take you in on this journey of how I kind of figure out what to paint when I don't know what to paint. So here I'm just doing these like really loose bottoms to the dandelions. Maybe I should just do like a field of dandelions at some point. And I'm just going to try and connect them all together. Like they're all kind of coming back to this area where we have these larger flowers. So it's kind of like a bouquet, but I'm not like stressing about, you know, the composition of it being this perfect bouquet. I'm going to try and fill in some of these little areas with green and leaves. And already just kind of laying these colors down and these shapes is just, it is making me feel a little bit better and not as heavy with ideas that something I produce right now. Also, I think it's helping the fact that I'm talking to you guys about how I'm feeling and being honest instead of trying to, you know, put on this persona of I know what to paint at all times and I always know what I'm doing. And because I really don't more often than not. And I feel like social media in a lot of ways does that to us, where we just feel like these artists have it all together in every video, at all parts of the day. They're just constantly creating these masterpieces. And I can tell you right now, at least speaking for myself, and I'm sure lots of other artists feel this way, you just not always feel it. And that's okay. Just telling yourself that it's okay to not always feel inspired and creative and like you know what you're doing, because the majority of it, I really, really don't. So hopefully this is helpful. I'm going to add some yellow in the middle here. And I might want to add some pencil after. Now, I have gotten feedback from some people that they're looking for other content that's not just flowers, but you know what? Flowers make me happy. Flowers are also my go-to subject that makes me feel better. So don't ever feel like you have to be something other than what you are and what you love. I'm definitely giving myself permission to, you know, be me and paint what I enjoy. I do love painting other subjects as well. I've been really enjoying landscapes lately, and I'm going to try and incorporate a lot more of that into my videos and my work as much as I can. But I also need to be true to myself and paint what I love, because I have learned over the years that painting just solely for other people can be damaging to your creativity. And there was a moment or two where I definitely felt this pressure to strictly create for YouTube and what others wanted to see. And, you know, it caused a lot of like, you know, like just the lack of joy and motivation to want to create. Because if you don't love what you're creating, then what are you doing, right? Why are you even doing it? So I have learned to kind of give myself permission to paint what I love and just take people along on the journey with me. And I think today I wanted to do a landscape tutorial, and that I just wasn't feeling it. And that was kind of the pressure I was putting on myself to do this landscape tutorial, and I wasn't feeling it. And I was just, I really realized I needed to just put paint on paper really loosely and do something for myself. So that's kind of why I'm doing this now. I'm going to do little lines kind of going around here, because now that it's dry, and I'm using my size 8 round. But yeah, I can already tell you that I'm feeling a little bit better. So this does work. And while this piece is turning out better than I anticipated, because sometimes, and I will be honest, sometimes I do this and it's absolute crap and it's just not good and whatever. But it makes you feel better to just kind of sometimes put beautiful colors down on paper. So that's another reason why I say, swatch your colors from your palette, or just swatch a new palette maybe that you have. Just put your paint on paper like so and enjoy it, because that's the whole point of this. I'm loving the colors right now. I'm actually right now, it's funny because now I'm inspired by the dandelions, and I kind of want to go get some of the dandelions that my son picks for me and, run with that and do maybe dandelions in a bit more of a realistic way or a looser way, or just maybe color it with pencils or something. Just sometimes you just have to start painting, put your paint on paper, and then see where it takes you, because you might be inspired by something that you accidentally create or just on the whim start creating. And that's the whole point. If you don't try, you won't go anywhere with it, right? Sometimes you just have to try, and you'll find out something that you didn't think you would by being inspired by something that you're doing or you see, or all of a sudden you get an idea. But if you just sit there and you don't paint anything, you won't be inspired by anything. So I always just say, try, at least. At least. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of a light green in the middle here. I like it. I feel like our greenery needs a little bit more of something else here. Just some darker, maybe outlines. I've been really loving like loosely outlining my leaves lately. Just adds a little bit more contrast within your work. I like the way it looks. Like, I feel like if I were to critique this, which is not the point, I see there's a lot of kind of air, like white space here that looks a lot more piecey, which I don't love. It's not flowing as much, but like that's not the point of this. So when you do try and do something like this for yourself, try not to critique it in a way that's negative of things that you don't like, but maybe take a moment to step back and just like look at the things you do, and then try and, continue with those things that you are enjoying with the piece. Okay. You know what? Because I am really enjoying this, I'm going to go grab some dandelions from outside, because the ones my son did give me are dead. And I think I want to do a dandelion piece now. So I will be right back. So plot twist, just went outside to go get some dandelions, and they're all closed up because it's freezing today. They were all out and bloomed yesterday all over our lawn, but right now they're just closed. So we're not doing that. But now that I know that it's fun to paint them, I'll use that for another time when they are open and I can bring some in. So now we run with this idea of continuing with what I'm doing, and maybe I'll use some pencils and just kind of see how that works out and where it takes me. So let's do that. Okay, so the dandelions outside are all closed up because it is cold outside. So new plan, we're just going to continue with this. But now I realize how much fun it is to paint them, that the next time I'm feeling this way or I want to paint something small, I can just go outside and grab those. So instead of painting something small, I'm just going to play around with my pencils with this composition and just kind of have fun. So I've been really loving my Luminance Caran d'Ache they're not watercolor pencils. They're just regular colored pencils, and just kind of adding texture and lines and shading to my work with these. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to have fun with it. Again, it's just, the whole point is releasing that pressure from it being something absolutely perfect and well crafted and, being a masterpiece, and just really putting your paint on paper. So that's what I'm going to do now. You can just sit back and watch, I guess, maybe some magic happen, and we'll see.
And there we go. I don't feel like doing too much more, so I'm just going to stop there. I definitely could do more, but I just want to, keep it simple. I feel like I feel better. I got paint down on paper, got it out of my system. Do I absolutely love it all? No, but I do love little bits of it that have now, really inspired me to kind of keep going and try something else. So now that I feel like I've gotten that out of my system, I feel like the next time I'm going to focus maybe on some dandelions on this page, but just little things that you can do to really get you motivated when you're not feeling motivated. Try it. And this, I feel today was lucky because not every single time that I do this does it work out and do I walk away feeling a little bit better motivated. There's some days where it's just not in the cards and I walk away and I just say, you know what, not today. It's not happening today. And that's okay too. So when you do feel like this, don't put too much pressure on yourself, but just try, because you don't know what will happen unless you do. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys learned something, and that's about it. Okay, so I'm finished and I kind of did my final spiel, but I do want to add that when you are done doing your piece, whether it's color swatches or, an actual like floral bouquet or a landscape or whatever, even if it didn't work out amazingly, I want you to look at the piece and I want you to pick out at least one thing you love about it. It doesn't have to be anything, technique-wise. It could just be the color pink. For me, like I said, I love the dandelions. I kind of want to run with that. And I'm inspired by that. I like the center of the big yellow flower. But just be kind to yourself. Give yourself some positive words. Even if it's not an overall positive piece or a masterpiece that you created, find something you love about it and be kind to yourself. And I hope that this was helpful. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on all my other platforms for tons more content. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.